Shadow Binders is back in stock on shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com. And now on with the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And the day of reckoning is here.
It is. And I'm going to try extra hard to try to keep myself at a understandable pace for this. But I can make no promises because I am very, 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 very mad.
Yeah, by reckoning, I mean it's going to be the day that Kevin Smith gets wrecked, I think, by a lot of social media users, because the review embargo is up on Masters of the Universe Revelation, and it sounds like it's damn near exactly what we were told it was. Now, Mr. Smith, if you haven't been following the story, dragged us in the media, dragged us to Mattel, dragged us to Netflix, called us liars, said that we were lying about our insider information. And look, we do know people that work in the animation industry. We know this source personally. We've actually known this source for a number of years. And the source who came to us said, yeah, there are concerns about the direction they're taking the show. Here's the basics. It's basically going to be the Teela Show. Teela's going to be the main character. It's pretty likely she's going to have a girlfriend. He-Man's going to get sidelined. And we're like, ah, shit. So we heard that. We put a tweet out. We did not put a video out.
No, we actually did. We did do a video prior, though, talking about how much we kind of wanted to see the show.
How much we wanted to see the show, being huge He-Man
and we knew that the
fans.
studio behind it, as far as the animation is concerned, would make it look amazing.
Yeah, Powerhouse, who did Castlevania, phenomenal animation studio. They were handling it.
So in response to this tweet, Kevin Smith acts like his asshole self and says, oh, it was good ribbing. No, it wasn't. As showrunner, I really could have used these story suggestions before we locked the scripts. Well, then maybe you should have just hired someone who actually was a fan of the show. However, no, He-Man does no stepping aside, and Teela has no girlfriend in our show. The storyline is pretty dark and way metal. Before Revelation, we were calling it The End of the Universe, which The End of the Universe sounds like a much more fitting title.
Yeah. So, he was going on the defensive and the offensive.
Screen Rant made the comment that they heard that she's the main character too. And he was like, that's not true.
Yeah.
Guess what? As we're finding out, it is effing true.
It does appear to be the case. And I'm actually surprised about the girlfriend bit. Now, they might not be a formal couple, but even Grace Randolph said there is the strong implication that Teela and Andra
are a loving couple.
It might not be spelled out explicitly for whatever reason, but she's like, it's very clear. And she's like, I think it's actually queer baiting, because if they don't follow through with it or show more overt affection, people are going to feel like, what the hell?
And I'm also hearing that they're doing the whole queer thing with Adam too. Now that one I can't verify, but other people
and Duncan.
Other people have said that as well. So I'm just like, I'm going to take a moment here, and I want to say one thing to Kevin Smith. Fuck you, Kevin Smith. Fuckity fuck yourself. Fuck you. And no, I am not sorry, Mom, because my mom would agree with me in this instance. She'd probably tell him to go fuck himself too, but she'd do it in a nicer way.
We got dragged so hard for the last year.
So much shit. Even just a couple days ago, there was an Uproxx interview we talked about in another video, and this is what the little shit asshole said. Well, yes, but if you're familiar with the show and are as big of fans as you say you were, you remember that in every single episode of Masters of the Universe, Teela was right there, fighting for Adam, protecting him. Right there, you knew what he was going with this. Or fighting side by side with He-Man, same with Evil Lynn and Skeletor. People are like, is this woke? And if this is woke, then they were woke in 1983, because we're literally doing the same shit. And to which I said, well, Kevin obviously doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, because our videos, we've mentioned the whole thing about Teela many times. Also, Kevin Smith kept saying he watched the show back in 1981. It wasn't even on the air till 1983.
I'm starting to think that nobody working on this show actually watched the original show. In fact, we had Sarah Michelle Gellar out there talking about how the original show that the women were afterthought characters.
Not true.
Now, if you knew anything about the history of Filmation, you'd know that there were actually female directors and showrunners.
Well, I was going to bring that up. I was going to say this new show, it's Kevin Smith, the guy from Netflix, the one that was talking down, the black guy about black characters.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure a guy from Mattel are the ones behind the show. They've made Teela the main character, which we're going to prove that here in a minute. And there's 3 guys on the show talking about how it's about women and all this other shit. There were actual female showrunners back in the original show. What the hell?
Yeah. So again, just like She-Ra, the people working on the new version don't have any idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, this is something else that she said in an interview where she was actually literally spending a third of the article promoting a new wine that she was involved in.
Okay,
yeah.
That's great.
I obviously grew up knowing He-Man, but it was such a boy cartoon. And I love what Kevin is doing with this. He's making it for everybody. Adults, kids, girls, boys, undecided. No, Sarah. Girls watched the show too back in the day, which we've mentioned many, many times on our videos. That because of that is why they did She-Ra as a spinoff, because there were so many girls watching the show. And back in the day, and I have that here on my thread too, someone had mentioned when they were kids, everybody watched the same things. Like here, Jeff Jones. Boys back in my time watched shows aimed at girls too. Strawberry Shortcake, Gem and the Holograms, My Little Pony, She-Ra, Raggedy Ann and Andy, Glowworms, etc. Kids didn't care. All they cared about is it was a good cartoon and it entertained them. They didn't care about gender. And we always hear that same stupid narrative. Well, the shows back then were just made to sell toys. So they were garbage shows. Yes, that's true. They were made to sell toys. But they were smart, and they made them so they appealed to both the boys and girls, because why would you want to limit your market? So I would argue that you're less progressive now than they were back then.
Oh, yeah, because there were so many toy lines that were, for everybody, and they knew. I mean, you talk to any showrunners, anybody that worked on those old series, and they were like, we knew the siblings were going to watch, so the boy cartoons had to have something that appealed to girls, and the girl cartoons had to have something that appealed to boys.
And you remember, too, the narrative when She-Ra came out, if people had problems, especially if you were male. Well, you had He-Man. She-Ra's for us. You had He-Man. And now you don't even know to have He-Man, because according to Grace Randolph, and then the first thing you had pulled up, He-Man is actually, a supporting character. She said, the early review of Masters of the Universe, there's a lack of strong male lead or strong male supporting characters. She does say that. She said He-Man was like the boys' show. But that being said, there's no strong male leads or supporting characters in this new show.
Yeah, let's listen to a couple of her clips here. Point here. The bullet points: adult version of a kids show, back in eternity. Major queer baiting. No strong male characters. But I even watched part 2. And she said in her video, she's like, 90% of the people in the writer's room would have told Kevin Smith.
No, if they had the fans in the writer's room.
Oh, if the fans had been in the writer's room, would have told Kevin Smith to turn back.
Yeah, not to make these decisions.
Don't do that. Like, okay, this is great, surprise twist, but like...
If you're going to go in there and keep it up, don't just, it's a big mess. But anyway, go ahead and say what she said.
Yeah, let's listen to what she has to say here.
And it's also like those movies in... some pretty substantial queer baiting. We'll talk about Prince Adam in the spoiler review, but here I want to talk about Teela and Andra, who are pretty clearly, I think, a couple when they're first introduced, in a way that gives Korosami fans everything that they were once promised.
Oh boy, okay.
So it's Korosami.
Yep, and now we got no strong male characters.
Also, while both shows did have men and women in their casts, bottom line, He-Man was the boys' show, and then She-Ra was the girls' show. That's why She-Ra was created. So the majority of the fans coming in, the original fandom is going to be boys, who are now men. Why doesn't it have a single lead male character? Or
it doesn't have a single lead male character. Mm-hmm.
Well, you mean like it's the Teela Show?
Speaking of which, and we're going to get to this. This is what they scream. This is their call out in the IGN review.
Yes, because they did, all the usual suspects got review copies, all the blogs and the media outlets that, going to kiss Netflix's ass and so and so. They are all like, oh, it's great. They all start out with a subversion, and it's how it subverted the original show and all that stuff. When they say stuff like that, it's not gonna fly. It's gonna be like The Last Jedi. And people, if your whole point is to subvert something, then don't do it in the first place. Then why use it at all? Why? Why use it at all? If you're going to just ruin it and undo it, then what's the point?
Yeah, the IP, they think it's like, you don't understand. You can't take a classic IP, change everything about it that people liked, and then complain when they get mad.
Right, and he says on here, too, he said, it makes a bold choice that Prince Adam and He-Man should be integral to the story, but not central, allowing them to push forward other arcs in interesting ways. And then it also talks about how their background and their background characters. Let me find here. Prince Adam and He-Man are important, but they really serve as a backdrop. In a manner similar to how Max acts as a lesser lead to Furiosa in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, most people forget Mad Max was even in Fury Road. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And you know that, and you know that how well that stuff went over. So they basically are saying, even if we didn't say it, they're all saying, yeah, he's background character. There's no strong male leads in the show. It's pretty much a Teela show. And I love this part at the beginning. It starts off in this article. So this tells you how much of shill and bullshit this is. As a sequel to Filmation's classic cartoon, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Masters of the Universe Revelation from He-Man's superfan Kevin Smith is a bona fide blast. Let's talk about that for a minute, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
Kevin Smith, God, he's such a fucking super fan. He didn't know that it came out in 1983, and he's been caught twice saying he hated He-Man.
Yeah, he wasn't a fan. He wasn't a fan as of 2013. He said, but if you are, check out this art show. And this pretty damning clip from his own show.
Mm-hmm.
I have no love for He-Man. I
know, but I have no love for He-Man either, but he's...
I have no love for He-Man either. Let's run that through again here.
Love for He-Man either, but he's got a place in the world, in a comic book store. He can't...
And here's the thing. You know, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, well, maybe he was a fan later on, which could be possible. But, you know, don't lie about it. Don't lie about it. Just say, you know what, I wasn't a fan of the show, but since I got hired to do it, I looked into it, and I can see why a lot of people love this show. I also noticed they always step over 2002 He-Man, because 2002 He-Man is going to make this show look like shit.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
2002 He-Man is, you know, there's changes made to it from the original, but they're done in such a way that stay authentic to the original and stay authentic to the characters and give a lot of characters a lot more story, and they're more fleshed out, and it's an amazing version of He-Man. Unlike this, which is an amazing version of Teela. Just say you were going to do Teela show then.
Yeah, I mean, the thing to do would have been, if it were me, would have been to bring He-Man and the Masters of the Universe back and then do a Teela spinoff or something.
Because they kept saying that, well, He-Man, okay, it's for He-Man fans. We bring He-Man back, and everybody's so excited. And then it turned out that it's like, it's expectations subverted. It's actually the Teela show. Ha, 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 ha. Just say we're doing a Teela show. The fact that you're trying to tell people it's a He-Man show, get people to watch it, and because you really want to do a show about Teela, is absolute shit. Because that just means that you didn't think Teela was strong enough. The strong character that you keep wanting to say, well, she was in every episode, you know that, wasn't strong enough to carry a show unless you didn't tell people it was her show. And then you lied about it when people found out it was her show.
Yeah, let's just say that our insider came to us with concerns because they were hearing the direction the show was going to go in.
Oh, I forgot about that too.
Oh yeah, the faux insider
information.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck off, Kevin Smith. If he had said nothing, 95% of the damage that's going to be done to this show is going to be done to it because Kevin Smith can't keep his damn mouth shut. 95%
of the damage that was leading up to the show. When the show comes out, it's going to damage itself. It's going to damage itself. I mean, like, you know.
Well, like I said, I'm glad that Mattel is selling the He-Man and Skeletor action figures. They are selling. The Revelation action figures are selling. Because after this show, this is going to go the way of The Last Jedi. Like, I think you have potentially permanently put the nail in the casket for He-Man toy sales.
Probably.
And then the show after this one looks so far removed from Masters of the Universe. It looks more sci-fi. It's got the big chunky action figures and stuff like that. Might go well with kids. I don't know, but it's like, I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off. It's going to be like Star Wars. They're going to be like, we waited how long for another He-Man show, and this is what you did, and you lied.
And the thing is, now that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad show.
No, it doesn't mean it's bad.
The fact that they deliberately lied and said it wasn't the Teela show, when that's what they're leading with on IGN. I want to point out again, on IGN, in bold red letters, basically this is Teela's show. You know what? Then don't lie about it. And we took so much shit from this little asshat. This little, you're a whiny little bitch, Kevin Smith. You are such a little bitch. It's ridiculous. I mean, you want to do a show about a man. You probably made it about Teela because you related more to her than you did the dude because, you're such a bitch. And I'm sorry, but you are. I don't normally say this about people. I usually don't go there because I feel bad. I don't like doing that. But you are. And I'm so sick of this because, this could have been handled 100 different ways. If you had said, hey, that's not true, can you take it down? We would have done that. We've done it for other people before when they've asked us a courtesy.
I actually took that tweet down. I didn't take it down because I was afraid of Kevin Smith. It came down because last year I was thinking about just leaving Twitter completely, so I purged the Clownfish TV.
You knew it was out there anyway.
Yeah, it was already out there. Screen capture. The internet never forgets, whatever. But yeah, the tweet was out. Like, if he had not reacted the way that he reacted to it and legitimized it, they could have dropped the show and then wait until Friday for everybody to lose their shit.
They would have had months of peace. But no, Kevin Smith doesn't stop talking. And then they keep using this one talking point about, well, you knew it was going to be, we were right. When their one talking point was, well, Teela was always important. No one ever said she wasn't. I don't know where you keep getting this from. And anything we ever said never came up that she wasn't important. But I think most people have said it was, everybody knew that she was important. She was like, one of the main leads. But this is just bullshit. You're like basically telling people you're going to get a He-Man show. And all these articles are writing about how it subverts the actual show and how it's a new direction and everything else. People are going to be like, what? What? Wait, what? And maybe He-Man will be more prevalent in the second half or whatever season. Second half. This is one season.
That's a Netflix season. Like one episode could be a season.
And that might be the case. But if you get shit, you deserve it. Because you threw so much shit. And here's the thing. You can't be that smart. Okay, because the truth was going to come out when it aired. What did you think was going to happen when it aired?
I think they thought that we would be out of the picture because YouTube channels come and go, and the people would have forgotten about it.
Twice as big now.
And bringing it up again as of this week, you didn't do yourself any favors because now 2 days later we're finding out
people might have forgot.
Yeah,
but now it's all over the place. And now Grace Randolph she didn't mention my name again too, because they're all too ballless to do that. But she's even like, you shouldn't have even said anything about those rumors. You should have just
kept your mouth shut.
Yes.
Yeah, he could have just been like, well, that's interesting. That's not how I would have dealt with it. Been like, no, that's not what we're doing. But just wait for the show, or just say wait for the show. That's an interesting theory, but wait for the show.
And then, they're already going to do this whole thing that if you don't like it, it's because they're already setting it up. If you don't like it, it's because you don't like LGBTQ people and you don't like women. They're already setting that up. They're already going to run with that. Because according to Sarah Michelle Gellar, who'd never watched the show because she wasn't into He-Man, it was a boys' show, and now it's for everyone. Because for 30-some years, it's been kept around because men and women, boys and girls, and people who don't identify as either have been keeping it around for years.
Yes, there's a tweet out there I saw, a friend of mine who, I think he took it down, but he actually said that, the women got the most backstory in the original Filmation show. There weren't as many of them, but they were more fleshed out. Sorceress, Teela, Queen Marlena, came from Earth, was He-Man's mother. Yeah. She was an astronaut. There's a whole backstory to where she came from. How
feminist was that? A female astronaut, all this other stuff. You keep acting like you invented feminism and strong female characters. They were done years ago, and they were done better than you're doing them now. And you know what? And they were just strong because they were not, and they were. You didn't have to be like, well, they're strong because they're women. They were strong because they were good characters who happened to be women. I'm just so tired of it. It's actually disrespectful when you do this shit. When you have to bend and change everything, it's just disrespectful. And you're using people as a shield.
Yeah, I don't understand why. The evidence was right there. As soon as the second trailer, the first trailer dropped, and we got
in the write-up.
We got so much shit when that first trailer dropped, and they showed He-Man. Everybody's like, Clownfish, suck a bag of dicks. It's all about He-Man. You guys are liars. It's all about He-Man. And then the second trailer drops where it's clear it's all about Teela, and it's crickets. Mm-hmm. It's crickets. Like, we'll set the jar out. You can tip us,
right?
Please,
because and that does not mean that it's not a good show. Maybe there's some things about it that are good, and I guess there's some fan service moments in it. I'll still watch it and be honest. If it's a good show, I'll say so. But
you can watch it. I'm not watching.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. It's like you can't. Like she was saying, if you're a big fan of the original show, you're probably not gonna like this show. Because it has fan service moments in it, but it changes so many things so drastically that it's...
That is not a good recommendation.
Yeah, it's just I can't.
To have her
I can't
say, yeah, the show has some good moments, the animation's beautiful, but if you're a fan of the original, you're not going to like it. Like, she's basically
it's
saying
something like that. I don't know exact wording, but it was along those lines.
Yeah, and I've heard this from multiple people. They said that, yeah, if you weren't a big He-Man fan, you might like it. I think Tumblr and Twitter are probably going to like it. And but the thing is that you can't promise people, look, we're returning to the thing you loved. We're just going to desecrate and change everything about it. But you're still going to buy the toys, right? Because you're a pay pig.
I don't know what Mattel was thinking. I really don't. And I'm sure, you know, it's because of Netflix's stupid mandates they're making on everything, you know. But I'm just, I can't even. Just the way he behaved. The behavior leading up to it was absolute shit. You know what? Just, you could have let it speak for itself. But you turned people off before it even came out because Kevin Smith can't keep his damn mouth shut.
Yeah.
He's such a ballless baby. It's just balling, it's just not that kind of balls. That one offhanded tweet was enough to lead to all of this shit. Because he wanted to prove that he was the man and everybody else was wrong, even though he lied. Shocker. And you know, Kevin Smith, maybe if you spent more time being the Kevin Smith that actually, you know, was like what we behave now, calling shit out and being, you know, having balls. You wouldn't be what you are now. I don't know what you are now. You're Hollywood's little bitch.
He's got more money than we have. So
I don't care. That might be, but this is ridiculous. I mean, his fan base is built on the fact that he called out bullshit.
He did his whole.
And now he is the bullshit.
He is the bullshit. He lived long enough to see himself become the villain.
And I normally don't call people names, and I actually kind of felt bad for him because I don't think the decisions were all his fault. But he solely is responsible for the bad behavior.
Yeah, this is gonna be a disaster.
I don't care if people get mad at me calling him a bitch. He's acting like one.
All right, we gotta wrap this up.
Yes, and I am a bitch, so I know.
So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.